So when I was growing up, I was told by my parents, pretty much everybody around me, that starting a business was extremely risky and that only the top 1% of the luckiest people in the world actually made it. It was like winning the lottery. That's kind of the views that were instilled in me. And what I was told instead was, hey, you need to go to school, you need to get a degree, you need to get a job and get a good career, and that's the safe option. That's the less risky option. But in this video, I'm going to explain to you how we were lied to and how that I think that is completely wrong. Now, hear me out for a second. I'm going to explain two scenarios to you, and you can tell me which one you think is less risky. So starting with scenario one, let's say you did what you were told, you go to school, and now you're making 100 grand a year. Let's not even factor in the student, what is it called? I've never gone to school, clearly you can tell, so I don't know the name of it, but what's it called? Student debt? Yeah, student debt, student loans, sorry. So let's not even factor in the cost it takes to go to school, but so let's imagine school is free. You just went to school and now you're making 100 grand a year. Lucky you, you're killing it in life pretty much. Now, most people would be happy with this, of course. So let's factor our costs in with that now. So you're making 100 grand a year, and let's say right off the bat, 20 grand goes to taxes. I'm gonna use Vancouver numbers because I'm from Vancouver, so that's what I know. Might be different where you are, but 20 grand of that goes to taxes. 30 grand of that goes to your rent or your mortgage costs for sure, especially in Vancouver. So you're left with 50 grand now. But that doesn't take into consideration your car cost, your groceries. Maybe you wanna buy yourself a gift every now and then. You wanna do a fun thing, maybe a trip once a year. So let's just take off another, 20 grand for that. So now we're down to, We're down to 30 grand. So you make 100, you're left over with 30 grand at the end of the year. And I'm being pretty nice here, guys. I know people who live in Vancouver who are making 100 grand and they're barely scraping by. Like, it's an expensive city to live in. I don't think they're saving anything, or maybe like you're saving 5-10 grand at the end of the year. So, but let's just say for the sake of the story, you're saving 30 grand at the end of the year. So the question is, how many years is it going to take you to save $1 million at saving 30 grand a year? It's going to take 30 years for you to save $1 million. So after 30 years of hard work, working every day, 9 to 5, not allowed taking days off, pinching pennies as well, guys, because you can't spend that 30 grand, you got to save it. Then you'll have $1 million after 30 years. Sounds like a safe bet, right? But we have to remember a few things. A few things can't happen for this to actually work out. Number one, you can't get fired from your job. You can't get laid off. The economy has to stay good. Your company that you're working for has to stay in business. What else? You can't get an illness where you can't go to work. There's a lot of factors that are now at play that you have no control over. So essentially, you're putting your future in the hands of your boss, in the hands of your company, in the hands of the economy, pretty much in the hands of everybody else except for yourself. So effectively, you're gambling. When you have no control of the outcome, that is called gambling. And I don't know about you, but in my opinion, I personally believe the longer it takes for something to build, the higher chance of something going wrong. Like, I don't know any 30-year period where something didn't happen, there wasn't a crash in the economy, someone didn't get injured and laid off from their job. Something's bound to happen, right? Imagine you're putting a roof on a house. I'm actually building a house right now. So imagine we're putting a roof on a house, and if it rains, it's gonna ruin the whole project. So now if we get the roof up in 24 hours, there's a lot less of a chance that the project's gonna get ruined. Or if it takes 2 months for us to put up the room, I'm pretty sure there's a much higher chance that we're gonna run into some rain. That's exactly what it's like when you're trying to save $1 million over 30 years. Something is bound to happen over those years, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure you know people where something has happened. 30 years is a very long time for everything to just go according to your plan. And we also have to look at, what are you giving up by going this safer option? Well, you're giving up driving the car you want because you won't be able to, it won't fit in your 30-year plan. So you're gonna have to drive a pre-owned car instead of driving a Ferrari. You're gonna be having to take your girlfriend to the local restaurant, like a neighborhood bar grill, instead of taking her to the best restaurants in the city. If you have a family, you're gonna be taking them to, instead of taking them to Europe, you're gonna be taking them to like the local fair. So you're pretty much gonna be living a lower quality of life right now with the hope of one day you can retire and you can enjoy your life. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty shitty to me. And that also sounds like a pretty risky option, because effectively I'm putting my future in the hands of somebody else. Hopefully it all works out. And in the meantime, I have to live a way lower quality of life than what I want. So now moving on to scenario number 2, which is starting your own business. Now, at the very beginning, we're going to be eating shit. And the guy who's making 100 grand a year, who went to school, is going to be doing way better than us. But what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to live well below our means, because all our money is going to need to be reinvested back into the business. So we need to live frugally. We need to cut costs here and there. And the quality of life at the beginning is, it's probably not going to be the best, because we're trying to invest everything into the business. And let's say we start Amazon FBA, because I know how to do Amazon FBA. So we decide to start Amazon FBA business, and the first product we launch, it fails. It doesn't do well. We spent 6 months launching this product, et cetera, and it didn't do well. But we learn from that failure, and we carry what we learned from that failure and we move on to the next product. And then let's say the next product fails too, just for the sake of the story. So the next product fails and we're like, shit, but we learn more from that. So now it's been a year, 2 years, we've launched a few products, they've failed. But finally, let's say maybe on the 5th product, like we're 2 years into the business, it's our 5th product. Finally, the 5th product takes off, and the 5th product starts doing 50K a month, which is, guys, this just happened to me. Like I just went from 0 to 50K last year. But anyways, so it's definitely possible. Now you just are doing 50K a month. If your business is 50K in revenue, profit, let's say it's like 20 grand. That's like an average. So you're making 20 grand USD a month profit now. And in order to sell your business for $1 million, you need to be doing around 25, 30K a month profit USD. I know most Amazon businesses, they sell for anywhere from like a 30x, 40x multiple on a monthly, whatever your monthly profit is, times 30 or times 40, depending on how good your business is. So let's say within 4 years, it takes you 4 years, finally you're making 25 grand, 30 grand a month profit in your business. Now your business is worth $1 million. You can sell it, exit, boom. Now instead of taking 30 years to make $1 million, you just sold your business for $1 million within 4 to 5 years. And I know I made that sound kind of easy, but if it is that easy, guys. Like if you can start a business and if you can get it to 25, 30 grand a month in profit, you can exit that business for a very large sum. And now let's talk about the risks associated with this business. So at the very beginning, it's going to be difficult. You're going to be eating shit. But the thing is, you can control the risks with entrepreneurship because you're not relying on anybody else. You can control how hard you work in your job. You can control all the things that you're learning, all the effort that you're putting in. So even if you fail the first 4 or 5 times, if you keep learning and putting in the effort, it's just a matter of time before you succeed. Guys, even if it takes 10 years for you finally to make that happen, rather than 5 years, it's a lot better than freaking 30 years, right? Would you rather work 30 years to make $1 million and be 60, 65 when you finally make $1 million? Or let's just say you work 10, and you're 20 now and you're 30, or I'm 30 and at 40, I'm worth a couple million. At least that's, I have 20 years extra on top of that to actually enjoy my life. And one thing I haven't even mentioned in this video, guys, is with both options, $1 million today is not going to be $1 million in 30 years. It's not going to be the same with the way that inflation is going. So if you take that first option where you're taking the safe option and trying to take the long game and make $1 million over 30 years, you're going to be freaking broke by the end of it, because that same $1 million that you think is worth a lot now, it's going to be worth shit all then. So you actually want to make your money faster. The faster you can make your money, the better it is, the less risk you have of things happening, like with the economy, with certain, things messing up your plan. And also, you want to enjoy your money while you're young. Like, I know I do. I don't want to be 65 and then finally being able to buy the car that I want. Don't you think it'd be a lot more fun being able to do all the things you want to do while you're still young enough to enjoy them? So to sum it up, guys, being poor is only temporary if you can control the outcome. Because in scenario 1, where you're essentially broke, you're a little bit more comfortable than a broke person because you can kind of do some things, but you can't really do what you want. Versus option A, you're poor at the beginning, but then option B, you're poor at the beginning, but you're working towards and you're investing towards finally making it. So you can either sacrifice a few years of comfortable living, so-called comfortable living, right, which is, in my words, barely getting by. So if you can just put in the work for the first few years, you can finally live a life of whatever you want. Or you can just live a lifetime full of barely getting by to maybe possibly making it when you're 65. And the last thing I want to leave you guys with is the more that you work at something, the better you'll get at it, including making money. And failure is part of the journey. So you're gonna fail. And failure is part of the journey. You're gonna fail along the way. But as long as you learn from your failures until you finally hit the target, you only need to hit the target once and then you're set. So yeah, there you have it, guys. That's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one.